Hello everyone and welcome back to the video series about Python integration for MetaTrader 5. And we're slowly approaching the final of this video series. We have to cover only these four functions: history orders total, history orders get, and the same two, deals total and deals get for historical information. So you can see a sort of a pattern. We've seen this total and get here in positions, total positions get, or for example orders total orders get. So this four work in a similar way to what we've described already. And when we're done with this introduction to the documentation about Python, the Python package, we're going to move forward to use all this knowledge and implement it into a trading bot. But before that, let's start with the first one, history orders total, which is straightforward. You have to provide a starting and ending date, and it's going to return an integer value describing how many orders you have in between these two dates. So let's move to Python. I want to import here for this video pandas as well as from date time. I'd like date time. Okay, and I think we'll need bits as well. Let me run this code, and it takes a while because my MetaTrader file wasn't open, but now it's open. And you can see here is under the history tab, you can find information about your orders, positions, deals, and so on. So if you right click here, you can filter only the orders. We are going to work with orders, so use this filter. And let's go to the documentation from date to date, and we can start using this function now. History orders total. Let's create a variable mt5.history. I guess in your ID, if you're using something different than Spider, you have similar pop-up boxes suggestions. So I'd like to press tab here, and you can see that automatically it requires two arguments, date from and date to. So let's use the date time module to create this datetime object. So the first one now is 7th of February, and I'm in GMT plus 2 time zone. I'll discuss this in a few minutes, but for the moment it's 7th of February. And if I go to MetaTrader, here the last order I have is from the 6th of February. So if I provide, for example, 2025, you can see here the order of calendar. It's first years, months, day, hour, and so on. So the month is 2nd, and I'd like to start on the 6th of February, which was yesterday, and the end date will be date time again 2025, 2nd month, and the end date will be the 2nd of February. So let me copy and paste here date from, date to, and I think we should be good to go. Let's take a look. Yes, the return value is 1, integer type. It's 1 because I have only one order here in between the 6th, actually for the 6th. The start date starts at midnight of the 6th of February and ends on the midnight of 7th of February. So exactly as expected. Let me take a look. I have another order for the 5th. For example, if I go back here and type 5th of January, so this must be the starting date, and let's update this one. Now I have integer of 2 orders for this time period, and this is how this history orders total function works. And if you have any issues, I know that this could be the case, and I'm going to explain this in a second. Of course, maybe everything is okay, But if it's not, most likely there is a little problem that we are going to fix in a second. And I think that I should move to the next function where the explanation of this issue will be a little bit easier. So if I go to the documentation page once again, let's go to history, orders, get. And here you're familiar already with these three co-options. You can provide here, of course, starting and ending date. You can filter by the group parameter. You can access your historical orders by ticket or by position. I'm going to demonstrate each of these options in a second. So let's start with the first one. I'm not going to use the group parameter for the moment, but let's create history orders get comment, and here let me just copy this and here I'd like to get, and this should be it. I should have here inside the tuple, this time it returns a tuple, these two orders. Of course you can take a look what's inside. Here the first one ending in 192 and the second one 417. Let's confirm this. Yes, these are the orders. We can compare by tickets. And now if you want, of course you've seen this many times, but let me once again I'd like to show you how to access this kind of information. If you want, for example, to access only the first order or some particular attribute like the ticket, you can use this dot notation, or alternatively you can use only indexing, and of course you can save this as dictionary if you want to. So let's take a look into these dictionaries, key value pairs. I don't want to spend a lot of time because we've seen already this so many times that you're familiar with this data manipulation methods, but let me show you something else. Let's first focus. I'd like to focus here on this last order, which is on 6th of February, and you can see the exact time of its placement. It's been 14 and 56. So, for example, my time zone is GMT plus 2. I'm going to remove this for the moment. And if I provide, let me start here 6th, and if I place 7th, and actually if I place 6th, sorry, and if I put here in the hour parameter 15, you expect to see this order, right? Let me show you here. The order, because it was placed at 14:56. So if you use the ending time as a 6th of February, 15 o'clock, it should be inside. You can, if you want to be sure that you use exactly the same parameters. So in between 14 and 15 should be our order. So let's take a look if this is the case here. If I run this one, well, this time the tuple is empty. And maybe you already have any ideas about the problem, but you should use the PITS module in order to manipulate time zones. Once again, I'm in GMT plus 2, so I'll have to create time zone, which is PITS time zone, and here I think ETC UTC, and here if I provide time zone info, I think this is correct, time zone. Okay, let me copy this, and here time zone. What's the problem? Time zone. Okay, now if I run all this block code, now you can see that my order was successfully retrieved, because first I've created this time zone PITS object here, etc UTC object of PITS time zone module, and I've adjusted my datetime objects according to the time zone. And the third thing you should consider here is, if you go to your MetaTrader platform is to take a look at the exact time of your order server, of your broker's server. You can take a look here in the market watch. This is the server time. So you should use this time, which is again here, in order to send your request for order information. Okay, so you can see this. Let me, for example, extend a little bit the starting date. I can go here up to the 4th of February, and if I go start at 8:50, for example, let me go here, 4, 8:50, and here if I go to 6th of February at 15, I should get all these orders that are in between this time zone, starting here and ending here on the 6th of February. Let me confirm if this is the case. Maybe if you want to access some kind of information, for example, this time setup corresponds to this time when the order is placed, and this time column here corresponds to the execution time. So let me show you. For example, you can write something like for order in orders total. Okay. Here now the first one, euro USD, okay, it's 8:59. The next one again, euro USD, GBP we have here, GBP we have another one here, and the last one is here, this one that we expect to see. So if you take a look here, you will confirm that these are the exact orders that you were expecting to see in this loop. And this video is getting a little bit long, so I'll have to cut it here, and in the second part we're going to discuss how to use this group parameter and the other co-options for the functions about historical orders get. And of course we're going to explore how to work with historical deals. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.